Hi everyone. This is another episode of Soul Talk by Humanity Healer. Today we're going to start a series on the blue ray beings. I think I mentioned that in my last episode, but we're going to talk a little bit more about that today and what that means. So the blue ray beings, not to be confused with star seeds, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But the blue ray beings were the first highly vibrational beings that chose to come to Earth to help shift the vibration of Mother Earth. Now, what happened was, back when the atom bomb went off in 45, up until that point, Mother Earth was sleeping. So that's a lot of the reason why a lot of that stuff happened. But when the atom bomb went off, I think it was Hiroshima, but don't quote me on that, it vibrated so strong that it actually shook the core of Mother Earth and woke her up from a sleeping state that she had been in since the Ice Age. And at that time, the universal beings saw the potential for the shift to take place. And this was back in 1945. So, all the universal beings, all the high vibrational star seeds like Andromeda, Pleiades, Arcturians, but even the universe itself sent out a frequency wave, basically like a call to all high vibrational beings that had already completed their soul's journey. So basically, they had already lived on all the other planets. They have already lived all of their lifetimes and past lives, and basically, they didn't have to come here. They were basically living, in the 8th, 9th, 10th dimensions at a very high frequency rate and helped that way. They helped from up there. But when the universe sent out that call, the blue ray beings chose to answer. And so they started being born in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s. Well, the final stages of them were the 70s, very early 70s. But if you think about it, up until that point, everybody kind of believed the same thing. It was just, one person followed the other. And then these blue ray beings started coming in, and we had hippies. We had people that were going up against what the governments and society and all that stuff, all those people that were trying to program your mind, and they were, in that time frame, very limited on their resources. That's why a lot of them chose to use LSD and, psychedelics, to access their higher awareness. Okay? Congrats to them and myself. Okay? Because they're pretty much the forgotten ones. But without the blue ray beings, the indigo children couldn't have been born. The crystal children couldn't have been born. The rainbow children couldn't have been born. And now the diamond children would not have been born. Now, blue ray beings, their vibration here on Earth highly mimics what an indigo child is. Like, the characteristics mimic that so closely because, one, their aura is like blue and purple, not indigo. It's literally blue and purple. Okay, there's a lot of blue and purple hues in it. And another way to distinguish whether you are a blue ray being or not is star seeds that chose to enter into humanity always feel like they don't belong here. Okay? They feel like they don't fit in, like they don't belong with their families. They actually say, like, I want to go home. I don't like it here, because it's not comfortable to them. The difference between a blue ray being and a starseed is that a blue ray being vibrates with the universal energy. And so it feels at home anywhere. I don't know how to explain that other than, like, when I was a child, 4, 5, 6, the only thing I ever wanted was to connect to source. And back in the 70s, when I grew up, I was born in 71, so this was like 76 or 77, when when I was able to voice and explain my feelings, I wanted to be close to God. Now, my family, I was blessed with a family who believed in God, believed in spirituality, but they didn't belong to any religion. So my mother always allowed us to figure out what felt good to us. Me and my siblings. I had a twin sister and a younger sister. And I remember we always sought people out to take us to church. It didn't matter what church it was. I mean, I think the first church we started going to was like Methodist or Baptist with my uncle's mother. And we loved Bible school. And I always felt a connection to Jesus. And I loved learning about the love, right? I always felt a connection to angels, like the archangels. I've always felt protected by Archangel Michael, Metatron. I mean, like, I've just known that I was protected. And if you're a blue ray being, you'll understand what that means, because blue ray beings didn't just come here and choose to come here. They chose to come here. And since the universe put out that call, they weren't going to allow them to fail. So blue ray beings came in with a team of angels to protect them, master guides to protect them. And like an inner knowing, but they also chose one of the hardest lives They chose to enter into very hard circumstances, meaning family, and like to clear the ancestral dense energy that had been passed down from lifetime to lifetime. So one of their jobs was to heal and transmute that dense energy. And if you're a Blu-ray, you will completely understand what I am saying about this. Sexual abuse, molestation, a lot of sexual trauma, especially with women. Feeling, I don't want to say like an outcast, because I didn't feel like an outcast in my family, but I felt like they just didn't. And they tried to dim my light and bring me down to that level, to their level, to what they could understand. And when I was young, it was really hard because I wanted to fit in with my family. I didn't want my family to constantly question what I did, or why I thought the way I thought, or reacted to things. Like one of the things that is really big with Blu-rays is that you love so unconditionally, even when you're hurt by people, other people. You see, you know, but you also can feel and see their pain, because only hurt people hurt people. And it's very hard for you to get mad at those people, even when they hurt you. You might stop talking to them and disassociate with them because you no longer want to be abused, but you don't hate them. You don't wish them ill will. You don't intentionally try and get them back for the things that they've done to you, because again, you know that it comes back to you. Okay? Now, when you're young and you're going through all of these hard lessons, you can't be aware of some things, because if you were aware, you wouldn't have the free will to make the choices that you needed to make to basically pass those tests and raise the vibration and be the example for the rest of the world. So if you had all the knowledge that you have within your being, you wouldn't be able to actually consciously raise the vibration of the planet, because in doing that, you need to be on the level of the group that you came in with, so that they can watch you make different choices and grow from them and see that it's okay to still love, that you don't have to be mad. It's okay to understand and accept what comes your way. Now, I will say that even though I chose a very difficult life lessons to overcome and transmute. And I'm talking about child molestation, duality, sexual abuse, rape, having a child at 16, losing a child, my youngest child, at the age of 13. I was born a twin. And when my daughter when my daughter went home, I left and I picked myself, even though I had, 3 other children. I raised them in a loving, understanding, and I always spoke to them like I always wanted to be spoken to. I listened to them. I allowed them to be who they were as people. And so when I went to them and asked if it was okay, if they would be okay, because I wouldn't have been able to leave if I didn't think my children were going to be okay. But when I asked them if they would be okay with me moving away from the area where my daughter passed away so that I could heal myself, heal my heart, all of my children told me, Mom, you have to pick you. You can't help anybody if you can't help yourself. And that makes me so proud that they actually heard me when I was speaking to them. But that's not what I'm meaning by this. What I'm meaning is that I chose to leave so that I could get away from all the triggers and the, comments and just everything. And I did. For 6 years I left. And I came home, bought a house, me and my twin sister, and we healed what we needed to heal. And we always felt that we came here as one soul, split into 2 people, so that we could master more lessons in this lifetime. And when I was young, I always thought that she was the stronger one, because she was the one who was like, you're not going to tell me what to do, blah, 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 blah. Like, she had the guts to leave at 14 and get the fuck away from the madness that was her life. Although, as we got older, I realized that was running away. That wasn't being strong. And that I was the actual strong one. And so I moved home, and my sister was going to move in with me. And we bought a house, and she had 2 dogs, and she needed a place for them to run. We live on a dead-end street. Sorry, we got ducks, we got a pond, we got all these things. A lot of room, fenced-in yard, right? So her and her husband were going to move in with us because we had a spare bedroom, and it's always been what I wanted. I always knew me and my sister were going to grow old together, and that we were going to do great things. And the day she was moving in, she passed away in my driveway. I hadn't been home 6 months. I'm sorry if I get a little emotional here, but losing your only daughter and then losing the other half of your soul, I don't know what life could be harder than that to have to go through. I mean, I know there's people out there that are homeless and things like that, and I'm not saying that that's not hard. But when it comes to loss and how your physical body reacts to loss, I can't think of anything that could be worse than that. But I will tell you that because I had already gone through losing my daughter and went through the process of grief and learned that they're not really gone and that you can still communicate with them, and having physical proof that that is true made it easier for me. And because we were still connected, I now get guidance from her, and she's helping me on the other side. And so that, like, since she's passed away, I have found out so much about my path, myself, what I'm supposed to be doing. I have grown so much. And she told me that. She told me it was always supposed to be this way. I have to be on the other side to be able to help you complete the mission. That what you are here to do, Sandy, is massive. And then I found out about the Blu-ray beings. And I was just like kind of led to that information. Never heard of the Blu-ray beings. And I've actually read about elementals and earth angels. I mean, a Blu-ray being really is an earth angel. It's an angel who lived on the other side, who chose to come here. But I was told in this society that I had to try and reach enlightenment. And what I was told was that if you're trying to reach something, is that you're telling yourself that you are not it. And think about that. Trying to get something or be something is telling your soul that you are not that. And that's a contradiction to the truth, because there's no way for any of us to be something that we're not. That we already are, is what I meant. Like you have no choice but to be light, because you are light. It's only the belief that you're not and the search for it that makes your environment and your surroundings make it feel real. Because what you think, you create, right? So I have stopped doing that. And I have just been focusing on being the light that I came here to be. Because my purpose here is to be the light. A Blu-ray being's purpose is literally to be a soul awakener. If you're a Blu-ray, you'll notice that people either love you or hate you. There is no in between for a Blu-ray being. There's either people that resonate with your energy, or you mirror theirs and they don't want to see their shadow side, so they, push that back on you and make you try and believe, like they think they act like it's you, but it's just you and your light vibrating and mirroring and lighting up their darkness so that they can see it. And they will, because once they're in your vibration and they see it, it unlocks the door and opens it. And so it starts there. And so that's what you're here to do. There's a lot more to this, and there's a lot more information, but I will post that in my next Soul Talk podcast. But for now, and this is for everybody, stop trying to be something that you already are. Stop saying those things. The only true affirmation that you need to use is that I live every day in my highest state of awareness. That's it. I live every day in my highest state of awareness. I live every day in my highest state of awareness. 3 times in the morning, 6 times in the afternoon, and 9 times before you go to bed. The 3-6-9 method, that really works. Nikola Tesla. Read that. It's a journal guide. It's called 3-6-9 Manifesting Journal. You can get it on Amazon. It's pretty cheap. It explains a lot about how and why the 3-6-9 method works. And basically, it's the neurons and the transmitters in your brain. 3 is the universal number, right? That when you write that down and you state that 3 times in the morning, it's like a spark goes off. And it's a spark of creation. Okay? Then you write it 6 times in the afternoon, and that allows you, it starts putting the lines together in your brain to where it activates that creation. And then 9 times at night brings it to life. And start doing that. I live every day in my highest state of awareness. Try that. I love you. Sandy, Humanity Healer, Soul Awakener, Blu-ray Being. On my podcast, on Spotify, Buzzsprout. It's listed on a few different things, but will post these videos on TikTok and YouTube for anybody who doesn't have ways to listen to the podcast. But I love you all, and I send my loving light energy to you now. We are one. Have a blessed day. I love you.